So if you're moving to Virginia Beach and you want the best price for what you're going to get in the whole city, sometimes going to Great Neck or Little Neck or places across towards the beach are often the most expensive. So if you want to stay in the city and also reap the benefits that you can get by living in Virginia Beach, but you want a place that you can get the same style neighborhood, same style house, but cheaper, I want to talk to you about a neighborhood today that I think checks a lot of the boxes I think you might be looking for, but aren't as expensive as other places in Virginia Beach. The name of the neighborhood is Wesleyan Pines, and we'll talk about that today. We'll talk about why it's so great, the neighborhood, the houses, the price range, the style. What does it feel like to live in Wesleyan Pines? What else do you get in the neighborhood? For example, the HOA, which it does have. What do you get in addition to amenities beyond just the house itself? What is it near? What is accessible to it very close by? Grocery stores, all that kind of stuff. We'll talk about all of it so you feel really good about making a decision about whether you should live in Wesleyan Pines or not. But in addition to all of that, I'm going to talk to you about the reasons why I would say it might not be a good idea to live in Wesleyan Pines. There's some drawbacks to the neighborhood that I want to bring up to you so you can get a balanced perspective like I always do in neighborhood videos like this. So I'm going to show you first on the map where Wesleyan Pines is. You see Virginia Beach, again, over on the eastern side of the south side of Hampton Roads. If you have not seen Virginia Beach before, it's your first time kind of perusing it. The northeast and central part of Virginia Beach is that area I was talking about that's a little bit more expensive, Great Neck, Little Neck, which I love. But if you're trying to find bang for buck, this may not be, in the context of the entire city, the place to find that. The area I'm talking about over here is the western side, area called Wesleyan Pines, which is right here. This neighborhood, this area right here, right off of Diamond Springs Road, Wesleyan Drive, and Baker Road, all right through here. Now, zooming out, you'll see it's pretty close to Norfolk. I mean, that's one of the benefits of being in the area is you can get access to things like the airport in like less than 15 minutes. You can get to places like over in the town center area in less than 15 minutes, which is right over here. You can get to downtown Norfolk in about 15 to 20 minutes also, starting from right here. You can get to Little Neck Amphibious Base. You can get to Norfolk Navy Base, which is up over on the top left-hand corner, the northwestern corner, in like 20 to 25 minutes. You can get to Oceana even in about 25 minutes. So it's pretty equidistant to a ton of places, major places in Virginia Beach, and even the Hampton Roads area, Norfolk, Chesapeake. You can get to a lot of places very easily. In addition to that, you look at it and you say, okay, well, what if I want to say I want to be close to the beach, Sam? Going all the way over, I can look on the map, I can see all the way to the ocean front. It's going to be like 25 minutes. Well, that's true. But the benefit of being in Virginia Beach is that you are close to many beaches. So you are only about 12 to 15 minutes max away from Chicks Beach up on the top side, the north side, the Chesapeake Bay, which is a very nice neighborhood beach right off of Diamond Springs. Take Route 13 and you're right there. Then you're going over from there, Shore Drive. You got plenty of restaurants up and down Shore Drive. It's a very touristy, but also like a neighborhood kind of beach vibe up on that north side there too. First Landing State Park, got plenty of big parks over close by. Bayville Farms Park, big disc golf course, and golf course nearby there too. So you have a lot nearby. Not to mention, you're also close to Lake Smith, which is, there's a lake there, but there are some park areas accessed near there too. So Lake Lawson and Lake Smith are right next to each other, which goes up to Norfolk. But the point is that you also have some nice little small boat push-off spots over in that area too. So you're close to that. So you're close to a lot if you live in Wesleyan Pines. Now, again, let's talk about the prices in the area. First is the area itself, the neighborhood. This is a pretty traditional neighborhood that you'll find in Virginia Beach. It's got like the 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, 3 bedrooms. You got a lot of ranches in here around the neighborhood, but you're talking in the 2,000 to 2,800 square foot range, which is it's pretty standard stuff if you're looking in Virginia Beach. You've probably seen a lot of the house styles and sizes that are similar to this, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. You see the style, you got that kind of classic 2-story, not super fancy. You'll find some that almost look a little kind of colonial like that, not drastically. You'll see some Cape Cods like you see this one, for example, in here. But one of the things you'll see in a place like Wesleyan Pines, and specifically Wesleyan Pines, is that for the size, have a little bit more space between house to house. Which one of the problems I find with Virginia Beach is as you go higher in price, 5, 6, 7, 8, sometimes you don't get as much yard as you might expect as you're going higher in price. You know, people that say, well, I'll spend $700, I'll spend $650, but I want more than what I'm paying in the 5s or the $550 range. Well, you can get that, but sometimes the things that you pay for in the 6s and 7s aren't necessarily the aesthetic or the house itself. You might be paying for the location. But the thing about Wesleyan Pines is you do get a neighborhood that feels like a lot of the places in the Northeast, like Great Neck, Little Neck, or even in Salem, like in the middle central part of Virginia Beach. But the house lot sizes are a little bit wider than other parts of the area in Virginia Beach that may have the same style house, but they may not have the same size lot. It's just that much bigger. I'm talking like a few feet, but that extra few feet can make a big difference for what it feels like when you live in the house or walk down the street. The whole environment feels different. And so I do think that's worth mentioning, because for the price in this case, Wesleyan Pines, you're talking in the 500 to the 630-ish, 640 price range. You're going to be getting a little bit more yard than what you might be getting in other parts of a Great Neck, Little Neck, even in Salem, for the 600, 550 price range. So I think that's a big deal. That's that little extra piece. So it means the backyards often are a little bit bigger, which means more space to do more things. Houses you might see that are listed may have more just unique things in them, just more space for a pool, for example. Not to mention, I'll mention other amenities in the neighborhood, which you might not want a pool, but if you do, you can often do that in a neighborhood like Wesleyan Pines. And you'll see too, if you look on the overhead of the map itself, you'll see the streets. They're not perpendicular to each other. They're not parallel. You don't see a bunch of 90-degree angles, which is it a big deal? Not really. But to add to the character and the feel of a neighborhood, having streets and areas that don't feel so planned out and exact makes it feel a bit more just comfortable and natural. You can kind of like you're breathing a little bit. Those things add to some character and dynamics in the neighborhood. I love Wesleyan Pines for that reason too. And the floor plans in Wesleyan Pines are pretty traditional. You see the 2-story houses. You'll find a lot of them that have, as you walk in, you'll see a dining room on the right or a family room on the right, then another room on the left, and then a bedroom, or then a living space, the biggest family room, living room in the back across from the kitchen. That's not all of them. That's a pretty traditional floor plan in the 80s, and that you saw a lot of that in Wesleyan Pines. Now, in addition to that, you'll find I mentioned the frog. Okay, this is a big concept I want to mention to you because it does affect what your expectations might be for the floor plans in Wesleyan Pines and other parts of Virginia Beach. You'll see houses in Wesleyan Pines that have the finished room over the garage. I do think this is a big deal. I'm going to show you a house example that has one. This is a finished room over the garage. Now, you'll see some houses that will have 4 bedrooms and don't have frogs, which means that most often those bedrooms are most traditional, those standard kind of rectangle style bedrooms. But there are some houses in Wesleyan Pines that have frogs, finished room over the garage. Now, they might be a 5th bedroom, and that bedroom might be the frog. That 5th bedroom might be the frog. But a lot of times, if it's a 4-bedroom house, you might say 4 bedrooms, but one of those bedrooms might be the frog. The reason that matters is because the frog is often either the biggest or the most unconventional size or shape bedroom in the house. So it may not be one that if you're thinking, hey, I can get 4 bedrooms. I've got 3 kids and I want them to have relatively equal size rooms or traditional rooms. Well, this bedroom does not have the same size or same shape usually as the other bedrooms. Often even the roof height is often either lower. So that can affect the livability for a bedroom style. It can still be a bedroom, but it may not feel like a bedroom that you might be thinking about, especially if you're moving from a different state. Even the closet sizes might be off too. So keep in mind that if you do see that window over a garage, that's most likely a bedroom, and it is most likely a frog, finished room over the garage. Now let's get into the HOA. This is a neighborhood in an HOA community, $38 a month to be in the HOA. You get a pool, which is why I mentioned before, you might not want a pool in your backyard, but pool, tennis courts, there's some common areas, playground in the neighborhood. Now, zooming out, this is one thing I want to mention to you that it does share. It's in the Campus East HOA community association, which shares with the Campus East neighborhood, mostly townhouses in that area, which is down just below Wesleyan Drive. There's Wesleyan Pines right here. This is Campus East right here. And so you share that community association, which is right here. So do the aerial view, you'll see the pool, you'll see the tennis courts. Now, some people, I think, my guess is the people that do want the pool in their yard is because they don't want to have a pool right next to a busy intersection, which is right here, Baker Road and Wesleyan Drive. The pool, the HOA pool, is it's around that busy corner. So it might feel a little unnerving to have a pool that close to busy roads. You can see it right there. You can see how many cars go around that intersection. It's also close to Virginia Wesleyan University, which is across the road right there also. So the townhouses, which are mostly priced in the 200s price range, is on the same side of the association as the Campus East community association. And so then Wesleyan Pines uses that same association. And so, is it ideal? Personally, I don't think it is, because I just don't like the idea of being over in this corner with the pool, which again is why I think that even though you share that association, people don't always take advantage of it or use it, because it's just not as convenient and it doesn't feel as great to be in that area. You might use the tennis courts, for example, but you may not want to use the pool for the same reason I just mentioned. I want to talk to you about some drawbacks to living in Wesleyan Pines, and there are a few. Number one is that these school districts, Bayside High School District, there are some school districts that aren't ranked as high as you might find in places like Great Neck, Little Neck, and other parts of Virginia Beach, which can affect demand. That's number one. Which you've got Bayside Elementary, Bayside Middle, and Bayside High School District. Now, number two, though, is that where it is in relation to the rest of the area around it, you've got close shopping areas, but they're kind of run down. It's gotten to me kind of this emptied out to where you're seeing like there's a Family Dollar right there. Cypress Point Shopping Center is right here. There's not a whole lot in there. There used to be a Food Line or a Farm Fresh right here that closed down. And there's a Food Line across the street. It looks pretty centralized nearby, and there's some shopping areas nearby, but nothing that interesting. You might find yourself going more over towards Town Center, for example, or even more over towards Haygood over on Independence, which you might find there's a Harris Teeter over there, just more on that side as opposed to very close to you. So that might be a drawback to you also as far as the general aesthetic around the neighborhood. You might be looking for something different. Also, the houses themselves. So they're built in the mid 80s mostly, kind of generally 83, 84, 85, 86. This is the main range of the polybutylene pipe kind of phase or era of construction. That started in the late 70s going into the mid 90s. And this is the time where you might find some phase 1, phase 2 polybutylene piping that is still in the houses. Now, that's not for every house. You'll see a lot of them that have been replaced, but it's something to keep in mind. Talk to your inspector about this type of piping. I mentioned phase 1, phase 2. There are multiple phases of this type of piping. I don't want to get into the weeds of that for your sake now, but it's something to ask your inspector about when you do get a house in an area that it's built in that 80s time period about the polybutylene piping. And also, I think there are some parts in the areas nearby that will definitely feel like hit and miss as far as what you might expect for just the aesthetics of the area. And so I think that's worth considering also. Another thing is the HOA. If you're getting an HOA neighborhood, you might not want to have a pool so close to such a busy intersection. And so that's a drawback to me too. That's a notable. And because if you don't have a pool in your backyard and you're using this and relying on this because you maybe bought from a different state and you're like, oh, I get a pool and I don't need to have a pool in my backyard. It's great. And then you get here and you're like, I don't want to swim down the street from a stoplight. That's a legitimate question. So that kind of stuff, the aesthetics of the pool and the HOA might factor into what you might want to do also. So if you have any more questions about relocating to Wesleyan Pines or anywhere in Virginia Beach through Williamsburg, let me know. It's what I do. I love helping people relocate to the area. I do it all the time. So if you have any questions, I have my contact information in the description. You can email me, you can call me, you can text me, and I'll do whatever I can to help you relocate to the area. And I will see you on the next video.